This isn't on the news, but it should be. The dollar slipped again. And whenever that happens, prices have a way of drifting upward. Not right away, but slowly, quietly over the next few months. And because everything already feels so expensive, even a small change like this can ripple out and hit everyday things we buy. So I want to walk you through what this means in a clear, down-to-earth way, so you know what to expect before it shows up on your receipts. Here's what actually happened. Over the past few days, the US dollar index, which basically measures the dollar strength against other major currencies, moved lower, more than most analysts expected. Not a collapse, not a headline event, but enough to make people who watch global markets to stop and take notice. Most people will never hear about this. And honestly, why would they? A small drop in the dollar doesn't hit you when you walk into the store today. But this kind of move matters because it changes what companies pay to bring goods into the country. And the US relies very heavy on imports. Electronics, clothing, furniture, tools, appliances, food items. Nearly every aisle in the store has something tied to the dollar value. And once those import costs start moving even a little bit, it starts a chain reaction that eventually ends up on a price tag we see. So let me break down why a weaker dollar leads to higher prices. And I'll keep this as real life as possible. Think about almost anything you buy that comes from outside the country, like TVs, tools, laptops, clothes, appliances, tires. It's a long list. When the dollar loses value, even just a little bit, US companies have to spend more money to buy the same product for overseas. It's like the price of everything on the foreign side suddenly move up. And once their costs jump, even by a small amount, that increases eventually, gets built into the price you and I see at the store. And it's not instant, but it happens quietly when the next shipment arrives or when the new batch gets ordered at a higher rate. And here's the part most people don't realize. This happens whether the tariffs are passed or not. It's a completely separate pressure. A weaker dollar doesn't make a big splash, but it slowly pulls everyday prices upward, almost the same way higher shipment or fuel costs do. So when the dollar weakens, some parts of the economy react faster than others. It all depends on how much a product relies on imports or foreign materials. Here are the areas that usually feels it first. Electronics, phones, laptops, headphones, TVs. Almost every piece of tech comes from overseas. A weaker dollar hit this category quickly because companies place constant orders year-round. Clothing and shoes. Most major brands manufacture outside the US, so even small changes in the dollar can nudge those costs higher. Tools and home goods. Everything from power tools to cookware to basic household items can get more expensive as import costs rises. Cars and car parts. Even American cars use foreign components. A weaker dollar means those parts cost more, which can raise repair costs, and eventually it will affect cars' prices. Food imports. Coffee, fruits, seafood, spice, canned goods. A surprising amount of food comes from overseas. This is one of the quietest ways grocery bills increase. Each of these areas reacts at its own pace, but once one of the category moves, others tend to follow. It's like a slow wave that spread across different parts of the economy. So here's where this gets important for a long run. A small drop in the dollar today doesn't just affect the next shipment of products. It can influence pricing months from now. Companies don't overhaul their prices overnight. They wait, they watch, and then they adjust when the numbers no longer work in their favors. So that's why economists pay attention to these early moves. If the dollar keeps trending lower, even gradually, that ripple effect can show up in 2026 without any big announcement or warnings. And this can happen even if inflation reports looks calmer on paper. It's the behind scenes stuff. The cost of importing materials, the cost of transportation, the cost of manufacturing abroad, that eventually pushes retail prices higher. So when experts talk about the possibility of new price increase next year, this is one of the reasons. A weaker dollar builds a pressure slowly, and it shows up long after the headlines have moved on. So what does all this actually mean for you day-to-day life? If the dollar continues heading lower, certain purchases could become more expensive over the next few months, especially if anything that relies heavily on imports. That includes electronics, clothes, tools, home items, car parts, and a lot of food products. So if you have been planning to buy something in one of these categories, this might be a good moment to compare prices or shop around sooner than later. This also affects travel. When the dollar weakens, your money doesn't go as far overseas. Hotels, meals, and activities in other countries end up costing more, even if nothing else changes. I'm not saying this to make anyone worry. It's just one of those things that are easier to handle when you understand what's going on. Small moves in the dollar don't make noise, but they do shape what you'll pay down the line. I know this topic isn't something most people follow closely. Currency moves feel distant, confusing, and honestly, easy to ignore. But they do show up in real life. Not immediately, not in a big obvious way, but in a small change that builds over time. So if you notice prices coming down a bit and you're hoping they stay that way, this is one of the things that can influence what happens next. And I just want you to have this heads up before a new increase catch people off guard. I'll keep an eye on this and check back if the dollar keeps trending down, because these quiet changes often have the biggest impact on families later. We'll watch it together, and I'll keep breaking it down so you always know what's going on with your wallet. Thank you for watching.